Just won't work you out. I am ready for your action. Just won't work you out. You should cut off all distraction. It's all on you now. And just give me some reaction.
It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obuchendo. Great to have you here with us. We're going to be starting off the show as we always do, looking back at the past week, and it's been a very reflective, if I say that, we use that word, week for a lot of Nigerians. Mr. President has gone back to complete, like he said, treatment. He did say when he came back in, I think it was March, that he was going to go back for follow-up medical attention, and that's happened. And just like the last time, we don't know when he'll be back. It's no dates was specifically set. But besides his leaving, which has evoked a lot of concerns from people, a letter which he sent to the Senate has also become a point of discussion for a lot of Nigerians with regards to his description of what the vice president or the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, would be doing while he's in charge of Nigeria. But I have here with me Chidi Okereke, who will be helping me sort of unpack all of this. Thanks for being here today, Chidi.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. President is gone again. This time we're not even debating why he's not being treated in Nigeria anymore. It looks like we've gone past that, as sad as it is. Are we in a place now where we expect this to keep happening?
Like somebody said, Mr. President has returned to his base after visiting Nigeria for a couple of weeks, and I mean, we don't know the extent of his sickness. To be honest, we don't know how sick he is, and we don't know if it's going to continue happening. But then we're hoping that he bounces back. We're hoping that he's strong enough, or he does a noble thing, which is resign, so the country can move forward. I mean, he deserves the best of healthcare. He deserves the very best of healthcare. He has earned it. He has attained the highest office in the land. But Nigeria also deserves a fit and strong president. So we don't. Let's just stop recurring. Yeah,
those people around the president and the presidency keep saying that we shouldn't panic, that this is only routine, and that Mr. President, even when he was in the country for I think about a month plus, the last time he was discharging his duties as president, even if he was doing it from home at certain times. Are we overreacting? I mean, I don't think Nigeria has particularly shut down at any point this year, even if he's been in and out of hospital and all of that. Why are we overreacting?
I know we're not at all. It's ridiculous that somebody can sit down and say Nigerians shouldn't be concerned that the president has been in the country where he's leading. The country is leading for barely combined 6 weeks, or say 2 months in the whole year. I mean, it's ridiculous that somebody thinks that we should not be concerned that the president has been seeking medical care outside the country. There's a whole lot of things that are wrong with that. We're not even going to go into the fact that our healthcare is not good enough to attend to our president. That's conversation for another day. But all the people around them, I just call them psychophans. They're just there to benefit from the system and then not contribute to the society. Because anybody who is around the presidency, anybody who's around the president should, if they are not able to tell the president the truth, it's as simple as they are psychophans. Because as far as I'm concerned, the fact that the president has not been very, very fit enough to run the country like the president should, something is wrong. Something is very wrong, and it is cause for worry.
In about 2 weeks, Mr. President would have been president for 2 years since he came into power in 2015 on 29th of May. How would you say he's done with regards to, I mean, I know it was a slow start for a lot of Nigerians. We've complained about that before the ministers were even appointed and sworn in. We've had drama with every single budget that has been submitted to the Senate. He's had personal issues, but a lot of successes have also been achieved with regards to corruption, the fight against corruption, certain infrastructure, have been tackled. How would you rate the last 2 years of this presidency?
So the last 2 years, if I'm being very honest, the last 2 years of this presidency have been quite a disappointment. I mean, we knew the country was definitely going to experience some darkness after he became president. It was very obvious it was going to happen, but we expected better from this man. We expected a whole lot better. Yes, there's been some quick wins in terms of tackling corruption. Now, the corruption fight is still not even there yet, but then there's a measure of accountability. I know people in the civil service who are experiencing the hits. I mean, they're tackling corruption from the institutions and all that. So I think it's a win at that. And then security-wise, Boko Haram and all that Of course, they are still bombing and all that, but then there's been some successes. Chibok girls, a couple of them have been released. So there have been some successes, but if you ask me to rate this government, in all fairness, government has performed very poorly.
Interesting. I did say before I came on to you that the issue of the letter, which was submitted to the Senate, has become a serious issue of discussion, because I think Mr. Vice President was described there as someone who will be coordinating the affairs of the country while Mr. President was away. Why is that word such a big deal? I mean, it doesn't say that he will not be acting as president. It doesn't take away any powers from him. But why are we so worried about the fact that that word was in that letter?
So the way the politics in Nigeria is set up, I'm not going to say I'm an expert in how politics in Nigeria is set up, but the way the politics in our country is set up, it is such that words like that are very, very suspicious. There are motives behind. One could suspect that there are motives behind this thing. Let's not forget that there's a north-south tension type situation in the country. So for you to say by default, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but by default, according to our constitution, if the president is incapacitated, by default, you don't even have to write a letter, the vice president starts acting as president. So for you to write a letter and then arrogate or call the vice president, who's the acting president, give him powers to coordinate, that means you're limiting the extent of his powers. And when you start politicizing some of these things, when you start thinking about the possible politics behind some of these things, you understand that it is not. There are so many things we are not seeing, but in the end, all these things will come out. It is very, very. I personally feel it is very, very wrong for the vice president, who is the acting president, to be having instructed to coordinate. No, by default, that power exists.
So you're saying the letter shouldn't have been sent in the first place?
The letter to the Senate should have been sent to say, oh, I am proceeding on leave. And as the Constitution says, when I'm not in, the vice president is the acting president. Whatever communications and blah, 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 other terms and terminologies. But to say the vice president will be acting or coordinating, no, come on. Unless the person who wrote that letter, of course, it's not the president himself. The person who wrote that doesn't understand what those words mean. Or if the person understands, that means there's politics we don't even know about, we don't even understand yet. That's going on there.
Interesting.